We're going to get this thing going. Hopefully, everyone who is a voting member, if you're a primary, you have this. If you're a primary and you don't have your voting card, raise your hand. So somebody needs to get Bill his voting card.
Okay, Cassidy will take care of that.
Cassidy. And then if you
can go up to Cassidy, that'd be
Bill,
great.
you check with Cassidy. And then if you are an alternate and your primary is not here, do you have your voting card? Anybody who is an alternate and does not have their voting card? Sorry. Okay, so you got
It's okay.
So you can go check with Cassidy.
The better man is doing the voting card.
I'm sorry.
And then we would like to make sure if there's anyone who's voting that they have a seat at the table. So if you're not a voting member tonight, if you could switch with somebody who is, like I see Linda, you're a voting member, right? I'd like to get you here, David. So if you are not a voting member, if you could maybe swap seats with somebody in one of the alternate seats, just to give them, it makes it easier for us to count. Okay? And there's a seat here.
Oh, is this open?
Yeah, we're saving this one for
That
Jen.
one's for you, Paula.
Yeah,
Sit there.
Sit there. And the Tyler, you're taking notes.
it's okay. All right. Okay, so hopefully everybody has an agenda and has signed in. If you haven't signed in, make sure you do before you leave. Going to go ahead and start the meeting. It's 6:45, so we're a little bit late getting going. This is the time for public comment on non-agenda items. So if there's something that you would like to speak about, and it has something to do with the Democratic Party or politics that you would like to share with this committee, you have 1 minute. And this is your opportunity to do it. Raise your hand. Okay, go ahead.
This one, I just would like it if everybody wrote to our various senators and representatives to help Puerto Rico. It's just graceful that we haven't, and we're not speeding that up. So I saw the help Puerto Rico. Call our reps to help Puerto Rico.
Okay, so write Puerto Rico and ask our Congress to help. I saw hands over here. Elena?
I'm part of an organization called the National Coalition Building Institute, and we're having a panel discussion on this Saturday from 2 to 5 at the Cesar Chavez Library in Salinas. It's a panel of folks who are going to be responding to what we're calling the current climate of oppression. So folks representing some of the groups that you can imagine that have been targeted in by the current administration. So I haven't printed a bunch of flyers, but I'm hoping some folks will show up. You can go to our NCBI Facebook page, and it's one of our events, and reply. And tonight when I get home, I'm probably going to email all of you the link so that you can register. Tyler participated the last time we had one, and it was I thought, a very effective way to kind of learn about the feeling sides of what's going on as opposed to the political.
So maybe, Elena, if you want to pass that around, and everybody just, you don't have enough for everybody, so.
Well, I could print more, but.
So unless you really are sure you're going, or maybe you can look at it and just note the day and time, okay, and we'll pass them around.
Frank, take a picture of it.
I'll
All
pass
right,
it two
that's
directions.
the NCBI, and they're doing a forum on oppression. Anybody else?
What time is it again?
It's 2 to 5 this Saturday in Salinas. Sherry.
I just wanted to tell everybody that Ana Caballero voted against the bill. I'm sure everybody knows that we have an overpopulation problem in every state, and everybody in the state of California. These are all the hundreds and hundreds, entire cities voted no more puppies coming into California from puppy mill. We don't want that. We'll just deal with everything ourselves. We want puppies, we'll use our own puppies. We don't want them coming from puppy mill. She voted against that. She voted with the Republicans.
Okay.
That's what this is about.
And you pass this around to the folks at the table?
I did.
Okay, and this has to do with a bill having to do with puppy mills.
That's right. We don't want puppy mill puppies coming into California. We cut off the demand and then there'll be no supply.
Thank you. Gary.
Okay. have a condolences card to pass around. Warren Church, who was a supervisor in Monterey County back in the 60s and 70s, was also chair of the Democratic Central Committee in the 1950s. His son Glenn was president of the Salinas Valley Democratic Club in the 80s. And there's a memorial this Saturday at 12 noon at Royal Oaks Park, and it's written down here. So whether you knew Warren and the family or not, I'm going to pass this around and add your name to this, because he was one of us. He was a great supervisor and a great Democrat.
What was his last name?
Warren Church. And I'm wearing his button here from the 1976. So I'm going to pass this around and hope you all have a pen or a pencil or something.
Here,
You were around in 1976?
Huh?
So you were around in 1976?
Yeah, I was here and I moved here in 1970, Carl. Where were you?
Okay, anybody else? Yeah, go ahead.
The issue of campaign contribution limits in Monterey County has come before the Board of Supervisors. It's an active issue. The supervisors are taking it under submission and advice. On October 17th, there will be another meeting in regards to presenting your views publicly in regards to limiting campaign contributions in Monterey County. We have none at this time. That is not democracy, that's plutocracy, guys. Let's face it. So let's, all of you, anybody that's concerned, get your opinions into the Monterey County Board of Supervisors, and hopefully the club will submit another letter in regards to its position. Usually they put it out Thursday prior to the supervisors meeting on Tuesday. So it's Tuesday the 17th is the next time it'll come up.
Okay, so October 17th, if you're interested in campaign finance with the supervisors, Carl.
One of them is right here listening to us.
I know you're here.
My name is Natara Benga, and I'm starting the Young Democrats Club here. We had our first meeting this Saturday, which went very well. So right now we have our next meeting planned, I believe, the 4th Saturday of next month. So if you are a young person or you know young people that would be interested in joining our club, it would be great if you could refer them. Check out the calendar for the secrecy, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
What's your age range, Natara?
14 to 35, or 12 to 35, sorry.
12?
12 to 35.
Is that
We're still writing our bylaws, so that could change a little bit.
Ahmed,
Well, it's an open mic for a minute, so
1 minute.
I'm kind of shy, but I thought I'd say a couple of words. Damn, it's hot outside today.
You're burning time.
Natara, the Young Democrats, welcome.
Thank you.
Young people are indeed the future. We're old, we'll be gone in 20 years. This is the future of our Democratic Party. You're going to be gone in 30. What I really wanted to say is 3 months ago I forwarded a name of a gentleman, Dunn, as my alternate, and I didn't see that go through any process. So I have asked him to come here in person, and I would propose that he's kind of a troublemaker and shady character, but most of the time he's coherent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay? Anything else? Yes.
We have the Citizens Commission on Human Rights to come here in Monterey County for 5 days. I sent you a flyer, and we plan on having a chapter here in Monterey County.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
Do you know when that is? I know you sent us a flyer, but...
I sent, it's over now.
Oh, it's over.
It was September 14th to, it was 5 days at the, on Fort Ord at the General Stillwell Community Center.
So what do people do if they want to help with this chapter?
Get in touch with me.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
I was just, for everybody, tomorrow, if you can be at the MPC at 1:30 to support the MPC teachers in their meeting is Where?
Sam
It's
Carroll's
at the
room?
library on the main campus.
1:30.
All right, any other, yes?
Library got bigger.
From the DCMP and Aranaki, it was suggested that maybe all of the leaders of each of the various clubs get together sometime before the end of the year to plan strategy meetings around the clubs.
Thank you. Unity of the clubs. Got it.
It's a novel concept, Gary.
Anything else? Any other non-agenda items? Okay, I'm not seeing any, so I'm going to close this part of the meeting and go to the consent agenda.
Actually, for the agenda review, I have something.
Go ahead.
We don't have swearing.
Yeah, so, but we can do that since we have to.
Correct, and I have an announcement. Okay, so we are going to swear in an alternate. There's the bylaws have different regulations for different seats, and we do have copies of the bylaws up front and online if you want to figure out that complicated process. So Ahmed has named Doug, and Doug's going to be sworn in tonight. Normally, we would send you an event confirmation and a copy of the oath you're swearing to. So if you would like to be sworn tonight, we have the oath right here.
All right, Doug, go ahead and stand up.
And for the future, I also would like to invite Sonia to stand up, please.
Sonia?
Sonia has applied for a member application for District 3 of South Valley, and so Credentials Committee will look at that application, and if she is the only person, we'll be swearing her in next month, but they are open, it's online, if anyone would like to apply to be a member of this committee.
And we've also, for the Salinas Valley Club, had a person bring forward their name. You might go ahead and stand and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Jacqueline Jimenez, and I am a new person for the Salinas Valley Democrats.
Okay,
I'm new for the Salinas Valley Democrats.
so, go. Please repeat after me. I state your name.
Douglas Dunn,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
I will bear true faith and allegiance to those constitutions,
I will bear true faith and allegiance to those constitutions.
that I will honor and uphold
And I will honor and uphold
the bylaws
bylaws
of the Monterey County Democratic Central Committee,
the bylaws of the Monterey County Central Democratic Committee.
that I take this obligation freely
I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of
Evasion.
evasion.
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
Will and faithfully discharge my duties
upon which I'm about to enter,
upon which I'm about to enter.
and during such time as I hold this position as a MCDCC member. During this time. All right, thank you. Welcome. All right. Yeah.
And why can't Sonia be sworn in today?
So the problem is that we need to be able to vet her, and she's not an alternate. We're actually considering her as a primary because Ernesto's not been here in so long. So what we're considering is the Central Committee appointing her next month to be a primary.
So the way it works is there's an attendance requirement. I'm Karen Araujo, and I'm first vice chair, I'm chair of the Credentials Committee. So it's something that we ran on, actually the new executive board, was that we were going to be fair and impartial by following all the rules and the bylaws. There were some complications and also good intentions that wasn't happening before because everyone knew one another, right? And it's very easy to do to say, oh, it's just so-and-so, it's just so-and-so. So even Scott Dick and Tom Diggins, who all of us have known for years, when they came forward to represent their club, they were announced at one meeting, vetted during the month, and sworn in the next time. So we're just trying to be consistent with those. That's the process for clubs. The way it works for attendance for the supervisorial folks is we can name whomever we want to be our alternate, but when we cease to be holding a seat, our alternate loses the standing as well, and they have to go through a process.
But Ernesto was at UC Berkeley attending college, and unlike Terry Short, who resigned, he still has his position as a PCC member. He notified that Sonia was his alternate, and he was never notified, nor was Sonia, that he no longer had a seat. So
I did contact him.
He has been contacted, so there's a
But not-
miscommunication.
Not that he no longer had a seat.
Yes, he's no longer holding the seat, and so there's a miscommunication, and he thinks he's not, because he was told by
I
the chair.
did communicate with him a couple days ago, after the board meeting.
And
We
in-
discussed this at the board.
And in January, we said, everybody, starting in January, we're enforcing the attendance clause. If you miss 2 meetings, you're out. And we let it go till July. And then in July, we said, we're doing this in August. And then in August, we said, we're doing it for sure. And we did it.
Unexcused
Yeah,
absence.
there was no communication. And that's not against him. Ernesto's great. He's doing wonderful things in the world. But he attended 1 meeting, and he let me know way back then that he'd be resigning. And then I got busy with his life. He's going to do great things. But yeah, that's what happened.
And the board took action at the last month on that?
And just
Go ahead.
it also creates that when it's an open seat now, we need to publicize it in case there's somebody else who wants to run out there. We would love
That
that,
is
Sonia,
correct.
but we do have to, follow our rules.
Okay,
We just announced it.
all right. Going on
Got a question?
to-
Question in the back?
Yeah.
I think I need to be sworn in.
Does she need to be sworn in?
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Yes, she does. You are a new, welcome, new member. Yes, you need to be sworn in. It will cost you $50.
Okay. You know,
You're paying for
when
it.
you're a Democrat, it always costs you. What can I say?
25.
Okay. Yeah, everybody.
If you want to vote in.
I got it.
It's all standard.
So, repeat after me. I
I, Ana Caballero,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to those constitutions,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to those constitutions,
that I will honor and uphold
that I will honor and uphold
the bylaws of the Monterey County Democratic Central Committee,
the bylaws of the Monterey County Democratic Central Committee,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
And during such time as I hold this position as a MCDCC member.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
Folks who may not understand, we have elected officials who oftentimes have alternates representing them, but they do have seats at this committee, and so that's why Anna's being sworn in. We also have club reps. In the case of club reps, our policy is to have the person announced and to swear them in the following month so that we can vet them. And for alternates, as Doug is, basically alternates can be sworn in, and they are being basically affirmed by the primary member. So that is our policy, and I know it can be confusing, but we're trying to be consistent. Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda, we have the minutes and the financial reports. Are there any comments or questions on either of those? Yes.
I just had a comment, I mean, not a comment, but a question. Do we We actually have a lot more taking these out there. Some of them must have donate monthly. Is there a form to do that? Can I get a copy of it? That's it.
And I would just note, if you look at our financial report, that for the first time, I think, all year, we actually have more money than we started with at the beginning of the year. So, Jen, do you have any comments on the financials before we go on?
No, when we're still making more money than we're spending, so that's good. A little bit of that is borrowed, so we're going to have to pay back expenses from the annual fundraiser. But we are in pretty good shape so far.
Any questions? All right, then I would entertain a motion to approve.
I move that we accept the minutes.
Okay.
I mean, the
Alicia.
treasurer's report.
All right, and is there a second? All right, can you get back to this? This is the consent agenda, yeah. Hold on a second. Are you taking notes? Good. All right, so we got Alicia and we've got Bill. Any other comments?
You're doing a great job.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, item passes unanimously. Next, we have monthly speakers. So this month, we don't have a speaker, which is probably just as well because we have a pretty full agenda. Next month, in October, the Progressive Dems will cover, and I think we passed around a sign-up sheet for other clubs. If you didn't sign up and your club would like to take responsibility for a particular month to try to find a speaker, it could be a local elected official, it could be a statewide official, it could be a candidate.
Or it could be us, we're
Or it
talking
could be
about
one of
working
us.
America.
Yeah. Then let us know. Any questions about that? All right, then action item. So we have basically two action items. The first one is the endorsement for North Monterey County. Turns out that there's only one real election this fall because so many elections have been moved to align with the 2018-2020 election cycle, so we don't have that many off-year elections. We have one election this year we're being asked to consider, that's North Monterey. Now, Karen, you said that candidates are going to be here at 8?
Yeah, the candidates were contacted and one of them had a prior engagement, so they agreed to be here at 8 o'clock. So we're moving that portion to 8 o'clock. That'll be the 8 o'clock to 8:30 portion of our meeting tonight.
Okay, so we're going to just hold off on that for now. And then we'll go to 8B, which is the vote to fill the District 2 vacancy. That spot on the Central Committee was vacated when Terry Short resigned. We have two candidates, and hopefully you've seen the materials from both of them, Jose Covarrubias and Anthony Roca. And I think what I'm going to do is give each of them a minute to share their thoughts with the Central Committee if they would like. And then we'll go about the process. Now, the process for this is we need, basically it's a 50% plus one. So whichever of these two individuals, first of all, we thank both of them for putting their names forward and for offering to help us. But whichever of them gets 50% plus one of our delegate votes here tonight will occupy that spot.
Do you mind if we do the business of verifying the votes in the room before we hear from them?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So as you came in, hopefully you received your voting card. Thank you to Caspian for helping with that. He's Holly Carlin's alternate. Holly's here tonight. She'll be voting. Caspian will not. So everyone who is either a primary member or an alternate who is present without their primary person here, please raise your ballot and let's have multiple people count that.
Is that a question there, Ryan?
We'll share the numbers.
Is anybody missing one who is voting tonight?
Excuse me, Karen, I have a question.
What would you be willing to count?
Oh, sure.
It's good that most all together.
Yeah, people that like doing it. Sonia's volunteering.
And there's somebody behind.
Sorry, excuse me, Tyler.
Keep them up. Carl, are you voting?
You're just counting.
No, you gotta hold it up. Hold up your, hold it up. I'm counting to find out the total number.
28?
All right, check again, both of you. You got it?
28.
Everybody hold it high above your head, please, and leave it there, thank you.
What are you doing, Gary?
There's some back there too.
I got it first. 27?
Yeah, 27. Okay, so we have.
Sonia?
I did count him.
Okay,
Great,
yeah.
thank you.
Okay, so we have 27.
Alan?
Yes.
I have a question, I'm not quite sure how this works. I was CC'd on that email chain that went back and forth today about the bylaws.
Yeah.
And according to the bylaws, the people are supposed to have 5 days notification in order to actually have time to prepare for this.
So we're not on that item, actually. This is for item B, not A, B, not A.
Okay, I know you pushed it back, but I was just curious, in what happens if both candidates can't be here at the same time for the actual
Okay,
meeting?
I'm not going to talk about that right now. We'll get to that later, and we will address your question before we begin, okay?
Okay.
So right now, we've got 27 voting members, and so that means the remaining candidate will need 14, unless some people abstain, and then, again, it'll be 50% of however many people vote.
So that's very important for us to decide here before we vote, because our bylaws say, sometimes they say present and voting, and others say voting members. So the chair is making the decision that it is those votes in the room, right? Whether they vote or not. Is it the votes in the room, or do abstentions count?
If you abstain, then you're not part of the end, and you're not part of the count.
So we're voting,
Why is that?
Because you're taking account if some people choose, they're still participating, you still should be mentioning it's a participation in the vote.
But so by abstaining, then, you would make it more difficult for anyone to get 50%.
Well, that's true, but that's still participation in the vote. I've never been on any council, board, committee that didn't operate.
But that's not how our bylaws read. Our bylaws read that if somebody abstains, they come out of the count.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that is how we've done it, but I can.
Well, there are inconsistencies in the bylaws, as Karen pointed out. I suggest we form an ad hoc committee to look at our bylaws to make sure there aren't any inconsistencies.
But in the meantime, we're going to follow them as they're.
All right.
Absolutely.
Let me just call up the bylaws.
So what we have done in the past year is count how many votes are in the room, count how many yeses and nos, verify abstentions so that everybody is chiming in, and we've taken the majority of those who have cast a yes or no vote. That's what we've done.
Just give me 1 second.
So just to be clear before we take a vote. With the bylaws.
It's going to be a minute. So.
Change 2016 capital C possible?
I think we forgot to announce that Ryan and I both got haircuts, so.
And Tyler still hasn't shaved.
I trim my
Are we
beard.
waiting? You know what? Yesterday was somebody's birthday, and so while we're waiting, we can sing happy birthday to him. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tyler. Happy birthday to you.
How old are you?
I'm 30, I'm an adult.
Do you want my other?
Was it a good time?
I turned 50%.
Wait a minute.
Let me go like this.
He turned 30. He almost doesn't qualify as a younger.
Okay.
I know, right? I'm actually breaking that out there.
Yeah, you're out of there.
And these next few years are going too fast too, so.
Is it 35?
Yes, they will. Okay, so, this is what the bylaws say. This is section 4 under voting. First of all, each member or alternate must be physically present to vote. So for example, I got some people wanting to vote by proxy and I had to tell them, no, I'm sorry, those votes, you can't vote that way. You have to be here. That's why you have an alternate, incidentally. So those of you who don't have an alternate, really think about appointing an alternate. That way, when you can't be here, the people you're representing are represented, okay? So no proxy voting, that's section 4A. Section 4B, a quorum for the transaction of business shall be no less than 50% plus one of the voting members. Obviously, we have that. And then no vote shall be taken by secret ballot. And that's pretty much it. I don't see anything in here addressing abstentions.
So section 6, vacancies, paragraph B, sentence 2, the MC/ECC shall approve qualified nominees by a majority vote of the MC/ECC members voting.
Phil, where was that?
That's on page 6, or section 6.
Section 6,
If
A
you
or
abstain,
B?
you're not voting.
Yes.
No,
Actually, it is
an abstention is a vote, it's just an abstention.
Yeah, that's the way we did it.
Okay, so I can just tell you the past practice of this committee has been the way that I described it. Do people feel strongly about changing it, or do we want to just go ahead with past practice and then address it in the future? Okay, I'm going to suggest we go ahead with past practice, and we can put together a committee to address this in the future. So if people are going to abstain, we'd like to know that so we can adjust the end. And I should also say that normally abstentions, if you look at Robert's rules, are not something you should do to avoid a difficult vote. Really, you abstain because you have a conflict of interest. So that's the other thing, is we kind of allow people to avoid taking difficult votes through the abstention process, and it's really not best practice either. Yeah, Alicia.
In the past, I thought we've taken the yes vote and the no's, and then we've taken the abstention. So we would have this many yeses, this many no's, and this many abstentions. We never pulled them out in the beginning. We never did.
Holly? What's your recollection?
I remember an endorsement, I personally abstained on an endorsement, and a number of people followed suit, changed the majority count. No.
So it is a form of.
Yeah, it changed the majority count. So if, let's say we have 27, let's just say 7 abstain, then your majority is the 50% plus 1 is of 20.
Right.
You remove them from the total.
Right.
From
But
the
you do
majority.
that, everybody, you don't want people to say up front before the vote, I'm gonna abstain.
Correct.
No.
That's what I thought.
Okay, no.
Why do you even ask for extension?
Okay, I'm sorry, you're not, as much as I appreciate, you're not on the committee. So. Okay, so, yes.
My understanding is of the extensions is that if you don't have enough information
Yes,
or
that's a
you don't
legitimate
know
reason.
who the person is, or you have not gotten the information, and so you can't agree at that moment with the process, then you abstain from saying yes or no. And those abstentions and the majority vote will go between how many people did vote for the candidate and how many people did not. And the
Correct.
abstentions are not even anything to be concerned about.
Okay, so Lavon's absolutely right. Another legitimate reason, if you don't feel like you are knowledgeable enough or haven't been given the information you need to make an informed vote, that's a legitimate reason. Yes. Elena?
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Okay, so what we're,
Mr.
yeah,
Chair.
Luis.
Also, I'm reading the bylaws about removal of members for unexcused absences, and Ernesto just notified me that the bylaws require the chair to notify the offending member by a letter prior to the member's second unexcused absence or third excused absence, and he never got any letter. So
That is true.
So that was his removal is improper, and so he still has a right to appoint Sonia to be his voting alternate.
I do think that Luis makes a good point. We did not send him a letter by certified mail. I sent him an email. As I look at the rules, I do think that is a legitimate point. I think based on that information, I am going to rule that he does have the right to appoint Sonia as his alternate for tonight. So we're going to pause this process for a second, and I'm going to go ahead and appoint Sonia as his alternate.
And so Caspian, would you mind resuming your duties as issuing ballots, issuing cards, and also David Calm just came in the back. I understand he's coming around the front, so he'll need a voting card as well. So
Okay,
that will, so we will now have 29 votes.
Sonia is being sworn in as an alternate for Ernesto Infante. All right, you ready?
Yes, I'm a little bit sick, but I'm okay.
Okay, so I state your name.
I, Sonia Heredia,
Do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to those constitutions,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to those
to
constitutions,
those constitutions,
that I will honor and uphold
and I honor and uphold
the bylaws of the Monterey County Democratic Party,
the bylaws of Monterey County and Democratic Central Committee,
that I take this obligation freely
that I will take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation, faith and faithfulness,
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I faithfully discharge the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
of which I'm about to enter.
All right, thank you. All right, does David have a voting card and does Sonia have a voting card?
So now we have 29.
All right, so now we have 29, and what we're going to do is I will call for a motion. Somebody can nominate either, or shall we just vote first for one and then for the other? Yeah.
We would like to hear from the first.
Oh, yeah, thank you, thank you. Once we do vote, we'll just call for one and then we'll call for the other, and then I'll call for abstention, okay? All right, so, yeah, they're gonna speak right now.
How many minutes?
I think 1 minute.
We've had one in the past.
All right, so, and yes, and if
Yes.
you would like to interpret, I can give you 2 minutes, because
We talked about
okay? So we'll go ahead with Jose first.
alphabetical order.
He's gonna read it in Spanish, and then I'm gonna read everything that he said in English.
Okay.
Ok, mi nombre es José Covarrubia. Estoy corriendo para el delegado del Distrito 2. Soy ciudadano de los Estados Unidos Desde 1993 he votado. Creo en la democracia y en la justicia y el derecho de todas las personas sin discriminar razas, sexo y religión. Soy alternativo de Priscila Arbet y es jurado aquí en para la constitución de la democracia. Y fui elegido por Salinas Valle, el delegado. Soy miembro desde hace 2 años. Vengo a la cita cada comité frecuentemente para ver la cuota anual. Fui a la convención en mayo de 2017, pagué para el entrenamiento del delegado. Hoy ayudé a la comité de campaña debidamente he registrado gente Monterey en Salinas. Hoy puedo ser actualmente para la gente de habla español. Gracias.
Jose knows English, but the English is not as perfect as some of you might want to hear. I am a citizen of the United States since 1993, and I have voted since then in the Democratic Party. I believe in the Democratic Party and believe in the equal rights and justice for all persons and do not discriminate against race, sex, or religion. I have been sworn in as an alternative for Priscilla Barba and swore to be faithful to the Constitution and the Democratic Party. I have been coming to the meetings since I was sworn in and have paid my annual membership fees as an alternative. I am a member of Salinas Valley Democrat Club, and they have chosen me to run for a delegate for Terry. I have been walking door to door and helping elect Democrat Party and candidates. In May of 2017, I went to the convention in Sacramento, paid a proxy fee, and I also attended the training for new delegates. I've helped in the campaign for elective running Democrats, and now I'm involved in the campaign and development committees. I can be of great usage to persons who speak Spanish and are citizens in registering them and helping Democrat win. I have received honors, recognition, appreciation, dedication, and Employees of the Year certificate from Main's Company, important Democrat leaders as Simon Salinas, Jeff Denham, Ana Caballero, Bill Money, Luis Alejo, Gonzales School District, Gonzales Chambers of Commerce, Gonzales School District for a mentor and training local youth in my professions, and I'm a competitive and dedicated fulfillment. I fulfill my assignment duties for Gonzales School District 23 years of my time working there, and I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Anthony.
Good evening, fellow Democrats and Central Committee members. My name is Anthony Rocha, and I'm running for District 2 to represent the Democratic Central Committee. I'm running because I want to help the Central Committee bring in more young people to the Democratic Party. I'm a young person, and I can tell you that all of us young people are seeing what's going on at the national level. We're tweeting about it, we're hashtagging about it, we're Instagramming about it. But my question is, how can we get those young people off of Twitter and into rallies, off of Twitter and into this room? That's what I want to help the Democratic Party do. And I've done that because I served on the Senior Cities Youth Advisory Commission, so I work diligently to get young people to attend the school board meetings to advocate for things that they want to see in the school. And I would fill up the school board rooms. So I'd probably let the school board members hate me, but that's okay. And I want to also make sure the Democratic Party is on the right side of the issues that matter to us as members of the community, like single-payer healthcare, the environment, labor, economic, and social justice. That's why I'm running, because to make sure the state party is on the right side of the issues, we have to make sure the Central Committee is on the right side of the issues. And that's why I'm running.
Thank you. Okay, so before we vote, I just would like to say 2 things. One, again, thank you to both of you for stepping forward, and we really appreciate that, and we need as many people as possible to do the work that we have to do. Number 2, I just want to encourage everyone to be supportive of however the vote turns out, because, again, as always, it's important that we work together. Okay, so you're going to vote for one. You can't vote for both. and you may abstain, but again, do bear in mind, you really shouldn't abstain just to duck a vote. You should abstain if you don't feel like you have enough information to make an informed vote, or if you have a conflict, if you feel like you have a conflict of interest. That's really it. Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I made a suggestion, I was wondering what you think about it.
What's that?
Flipping a coin to see which order we do the names.
Sure, I don't think it matters that much, but if somebody has a point, sure. Jose, you say heads or tails, okay?
Heads.
It's heads.
So you choose the order.
Would you like us to, would you like to have your name put forward first or second? Primero or second? First. Okay. Okay. So the question was, do we want to have questions? I am prepared to allow some questions. I'm just a little worried that it could take up a lot of time. How many people would be interested in asking either candidate a question? Just Paula?
Okay.
All right, so if you want to ask a question, raise your hand. Okay, so I'm going to allow Paula and Mary and Luis to ask questions. And that's in that order. Go ahead.
So, Anthony, I didn't hear, I heard your experience, but I didn't hear if you have any endorsement or support.
Well, I only found out on Sunday that I was going to have an opponent. So I applied for the position months before, and nobody had filed an intention against me. So I found out on Sunday that I was going to have an opponent. So I haven't really had the opportunity to ask people, but from the people that I've talked to, it looks like Jay Marker is supporting me. Ana Caballero is supporting me. Gloria De La Rosa is supporting me, city councilwoman. Kayla Jones, Seaside city councilwoman, is supporting me. And those are the only things I'm talking about.
Gary?
Well, just a statement, I hope, obviously, one person is chosen and the other person not, but I hope you would consider picking, whoever wins, and consider picking the other person as their alternate.
That would be really nice. That would be a great idea. Luis?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask both candidates, how long have you been attending the DCC meetings? And I think what could be a win-win, because Jose has put in his time and has done a lot of work, and has been part of development committees, voter registration efforts, and he's come to every single meeting. Even though they're mostly run in English, he's been here. That if he's chosen today, he has expressed he's willing to support Anthony to be his alternate.
I'm 18 years old, so I don't know how long Jose's been attending the meetings, but I just got involved in politics last year. So it's been a real learning curve for me to learn all the different committees and what they do, and just recently I found out all the different things the Democratic Central Committee does, so that's why I wanted to get involved in it. And I applied, I think, in April for the position, and I haven't been able to attend all of them because I don't have a car, so it makes it difficult for me to go from Encinitas to Seaside, and it's difficult. But now that I do have a car, I will commit to attending all the Central Committee meetings.
Okay. No more questions. Jose, did you want to answer Luis or not? Anything else you wanted to answer?
I just wanted to say, because I think he mentioned, but Jose has already put his application since a long time.
Yeah.
He didn't just put it 2 or 3 weeks ago. He had it in. And Jose and me, we work together, we're a team. And he's been with me in the campaign and registering people. And also, we've been in the events. We've been into the events on the fundraising. So, he knows English. He understands English. The only thing is that he has trouble speaking certain words, and he didn't want you guys to have a problem with certain words that he can express himself.
So, yeah, just to be fair, both of them have put their applications in and expressed their interest a while ago. And, for a while, we were in communication with Carrie, and she wasn't quite ready, and for one reason or another, this has been delayed. So, all right, so with that all said, then I'm going to call for you to raise your ballot if you are supporting Jose, and to wait if you're going to support Anthony. And then counters?
I have 12. Wait, hold on.
Raise them and hold them.
Also, I didn't get this one. Okay, I have 13. I have, because I think she's raising it right here.
Oh, yes.
Sorry,
Past
13.
chair, it's not required.
Okay, so do you guys have the same number? 13. 13. Okay, raise your hand if you are voting for Anthony.
And 15.
15. All right, let's.
Wait, and one abstention?
And any abstentions?
There's one abstention in the room. Or else we're recounting, because that's only 28, not 29.
Is there an abstention? No. All right, hold your hand up for Anthony again. Just work backwards. And there's one back here.
15.
All right, so we get 15. All right, then raise your hand for Jose. Just make sure we get the vote.
Can you vote, Ellen?
Yes.
I believe I can.
There's a vote waiting back. Yeah, the past chair chose not to vote and only to break time, but it doesn't say that anywhere.
I have 13.
13.
13.
Okay, well, maybe somebody left. In any case, 15 is a majority. Let's congratulate Anthony.
I'd like to say something about it.
Please do.
That is that, obviously, we voted with a minimum amount of information really, so it's no discredit to Jose.
Absolutely.
No, not at all. Love Jose.
Okay. All right, we will come back to 6A in a minute. Let's go ahead to club reports.
And I have something interesting to start on that.
Okay, go ahead.
The first thing I'd like to say about the clubs, again, is we're going to tighten up. We're going to take Paula's idea. We mentioned at the last board that we may need to look at the bylaws, so we're going to do that. We're going to invite you to be on the bylaws subcommittee and other people who would like to look at them. So what the practice has been is annually all clubs have rechartered. When I read the bylaws, it said it actually is supposed to be on the anniversary of the first chartering, and that has not been the way it's been done for years. So we're not going to hold people to that. We're going to keep it to the calendar year. And I'll send you materials. Each club's going to get the materials, the application, the roster, everything. And you'll get a reminder from the secretary to recharter. It happens every year, and you'll have till December 31st until we do things otherwise. Okay, so the material, and you can get them tonight if anybody wants to take possession of paper copies. That's all.
Okay. Is there anybody from the women's club? Yes. Anything you want to report?
Well, we had a very nice event on Sunday, the gala. It went really well. Lots of people in attendance. We honored Regina Mason for the Sustainable Woman Award, and it was a great day.
Thank you. Do you know when you're next coming down? All right, we'll come back to you if you want to.
Jimmy put that it sure is, and I
Okay.
Yes, the Marina Club hasn't had an official meeting since the last time we met, but we have been polling amongst the members on a formal basis. We are continuing to provide additional information to clubs in the Central Committee about issues in the marina as it relates to water. We are gearing up for our 2018 campaign. There's going to be 2 council or mayor's race and 2 water board seats. And we have picked up the February Central Committee speakers aspiring, but we're
Good deal. And you guys got to sign up. Yeah.
I just had a question. Do you have candidates running for the water board that already that you're going to?
They have not disclosed, they have told me confidentially, but
That you like them?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone from the Salinas Valley Club?
I can go ahead and give a report. So in August, we had our summer barbecue, and we provide information to individuals who are interested in hosting programs around the Democratic Club, and we're still looking for expanding memberships.
Thank you. DCMP. I'm not sure anything other than what we shared before.
Just that we did have the Pat Snyder speaker.
Right, so she's a nurse or retired nurse, I'm not sure. And she was presenting some information.
Yeah, very nice.
It was really good. Progressive Club, Barry, do you have anything to report? I wasn't at our last meeting.
Yeah, a few things that, first of all, some of us went to Modesto with Working America, the campus neighborhoods, and we'll give a more detailed report on that next month when the club has some time to talk about it. Of course, we have the political and correct costume party coming up at the end of October, and on the 28th we have an invitation in the room,
And flyers to post to the community if you're willing.
What's the time on that?
6 to 10.
10. Let's see, Progressive Dems also sent a questionnaire to the two candidates in North Monterey County, Linda Lyons and Samuels. It's the only election scheduled in the whole county. Every other school district moved their votes back to next November. The Progressive Dems also took action to support the Marina Democratic Club in the city of Marina in their challenge to Callahan's proposed slant well and the taking of water from the marina. Progressive also took a position of supporting public water now and encouraged the Monterey Peninsula Water Management District to conduct a feasibility study of purchasing the water infrastructure from Callahan, water companies. We also decided to continue to push for SB 562 by meeting with local Assembly Member Ana Caballero and to continue to follow that single payer bill. And thinking of maybe going back to Modesto and bringing back, we'll bring that back to a report next meeting. To talk about that. Also, we voted to support teachers at MPC, Alan Hampton, by joining them in informational picket lines and contacting governing board trustees. And there's a meeting tomorrow at 30 at the MPC library, so encourage everybody to attend.
And on the political incorrect or incorrect event, the idea is to sort of maybe pick a Republican persona or somebody from that ideology and dress up like them or parody them in some way. One key thing, and it's not political incorrect, it's incorrect because we don't want people doing anything that could be perceived as racist or
I wouldn't
anything like
expect
that.
anybody here to do
No,
that.
but just to be clear.
So the party is political and correct party, right? So come, make your political statement, make your correct political statement.
Correct.
And some people are telling me they're going to come dressed up as President Clinton. We have a lot of President Clintons who are going to be coming. So we might have a chorus line or a show of all of them. We have a lot of people who are coming as another guy. And also from elections past, historical representations are welcome. There's going to be cash prizes. Drop on by, continue your plans with your family and friends that night. But do come by and drop a $10, $20, or $100 bill in the pot here. It's another fundraiser which is going to be very successful to fund this organization.
Okay. So we basically, believe it or not, completed the agenda except for, sorry, thank you.
All right, so we've got our second meeting in here, and it's been a really good time so far. We're up to 22 official members. We have something like close to 200 on Facebook. We have 2,200 on Instagram. We have an email list that we compiled that's over 9,000 actual people in the industry. And our schedule is basically, we have an actual scoring rubric that we use based off of politicians' stance and how they've actually voted for cannabis in the past, what their current stance is, and what they want to see in the future. Most of the future is basically regulation and taxes. And this county is pulling an extraordinary amount of money in taxes as it is per quarter. And we also have an early actually it's probably going to be the third week in January, really when we get locked down. We're going to do a job fair over at the Embassy Suites. And the types of jobs, they start paying around $22 to $25 for the low end. And then they go to 6 figures for the high-end stuff. So everything from basically cultivators, manufacturers, distributors, wholesale distributors, lab techs, etc. So we'll be sending a flyer out for that in our first newsletter that'll go out in about 2 weeks as it is. Yes. Right there, that's why we had Chili's.
That's a 6-figure job.
Ryan, hey, so when are you gonna switch from beer at your meetings to?
Yeah, hot brownies.
Not here till it's legal.
Well, technically it is.
Okay.
Actually, 2001 or 2018.
You're gonna have to increase your dues.
You can actually do rec, straight up. And technically, because you're in a private residence or in a private meeting with a club of people, you get to choose your own laws about what you consume on site.
Let's have a fundraiser. Brian?
Okay, let's table this for now.
Have you sponsored a table, a special table?
Okay, so that's a good transition to our subcommittees. And I think I'd like to go direct to development, as David is here, and that's so important. And we have our major fundraiser of the year coming up. That fundraiser and the money we raise from that helps keep this open all year. Will also help us next fall, hopefully be able to open an office in Salinas during the election cycle. And any other kinds of activities, we like mailers and all of that. So it's really important that we have a good turnout and make a lot of money October 20th. David, what would you like to share with us?
Lecture or? Okay, so let's see. What should I say first? I'll give you some figures for this. I think a lot of people have been in this room are trying to ask me the last few days. I've been trying to compile things. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Karen, and whoever was adding to this database that we have of folks. There's more people that actually, after I printed this, there's been more people signing on online, and and Alan knows that I guess we're working with a couple other organizations that are interested in being sponsors. Let me just give you some numbers here that can read this really small. Right now, based on this chart here that we compiled, 54 people have paid or okay. And the total revenue from that is $12,200. So that's what we have so far. We still have another month, a little bit more to go. I'm going to pass the sheet around. The night of the dinner, I need volunteers to help with the dinner. We also have, there's a list here. I need some people to call some sponsors that are possible sponsors. So I'm going to pass this around, and don't worry, if you don't sign up, we will call you. So we will call you.
So what you're wanting is help calling people who've maybe come in the past, people that might sponsor?
Right. So we have some leads, so it's not like a cold call. But so I'm going to pass this out. We'll go 3 ways. And so don't worry if we don't catch you the first time. There you go.
David, does that total include the couple of union sponsors?
I
Or is
think
that individual?
It does.
I think that
Basically, that's the number of seats. So some people sponsored you know, there's actually fewer people in that because some people are sponsoring and have multiple seats.
Well, we have a
Can we
number
give
of
a
people.
shout out to the two labor entities that have stepped forward? The three, CTA, Building Trades Council, and the Nurses Association. And
the
CFA as well.
And also Sherry DeBoer is a sponsor.
Right, we have a,
And in the room, yay, sponsor! Thank you, Sherry.
I would just want to bring up a couple of things to think about since I have been involved in the last two events. One, your seating. You need to do seating for the event.
yes.
Okay. The other one is credit cards. So I got involved in processing a credit card, and I would just like to make everyone who is taking envelopes or information from other people aware that you're responsible for the security of that credit card information. And if you lose it, by law, we're supposed to turn that into the state of California, and we're supposed to provide a years of credit monitoring for that person. So if you accept a credit card from anybody, keep it secure until you get it to Jen. Jen knows what to do with it at that point to keep it secure. When I ran credit cards, as soon as it was run, I X'd out all the numbers except for the last four. So you have people's personal, private information, you've got to keep it secure.
So I don't know if we're doing, I know we have, people are paying through the website, and then I think people are paying by check. David, are we also doing credit cards? Through envelopes or something?
I think the majority of them checks, but I believe it's people with credit. But unfortunately, the number was not put on there for the security number, so we have to call them and get that information.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, if you're walking around with an envelope with a credit card, please keep it secure.
David, can I add to what you're saying by pointing out on page 19, you'll see a flyer that's a cut and paste, most of it's cut and pasted from the website. So you can direct anyone who you want to buy a ticket right away to MontereyCountyDems.org, and they can click and pledge right then. There's a printout here if you need a one-pager to share with people, and just let David know, or me know, the committee know, Mary Lou. We'll get this to you electronically. And then on page 20, here's a summation of the sponsorships and ads. If you know any business owners who are Democrats or Dem-friendly, please direct them my way. I will make the phone call and ask for the money. You don't have to ask for money. It would be nice if I said, oh, if you permitted me to say, oh, Elena gave me your number, she's one of your customers, or she knows, you know, her kids know your kids or something, and I can ask them for that ad. Ads are pure profit, pure revenue. So we need sponsors for those ads in the program book. So send them my way.
And if yeah, Lynn.
Well, I wondered if there's a procedure for, a few folks have come to my attention, one in particular, who would like to attend, but the cost is prohibitive. If there's, you know, going to be like a list of names that we can give to somebody for those tables where a union sponsors 10 seats, but only 5 people show up. So it's already being paid for. So I just want to know who, should I direct that to you, David, or?
Sure, you can address it with that.
And then also, there will be an auction. If you have, in particular, we're not going to be doing a silent auction, but if you have a bigger ticket item, let David know so that we can auction that off and again, make more money.
And promote it in advance, so we get top dollar.
Are you going to do a wine
Yes.
package? Do you need bottles of wine?
Yeah, we are getting a variety of wine, but yes, if you would like to donate.
Yes, if you have bottles of good quality wine that has been properly stored, so it's of outstanding quality, so we're selling the best to the person, we welcome your donations of wine. If not, we might just drink it that night, but that's okay, just donate it to us. We'll make sure it's appreciated.
Okay, David, is there anything else you need us to do? You need us to
sign up if you can for the volunteers. But like I said, we're gonna call everybody. Oh, there was one snafu I'm trying to rectify. I think hopefully it's done. So the dinner choices, there's actually 4 dinner choices. You get beef, chicken, salmon, or the vegetarian, which is the eggplant, what was it, goat cheese or something. So we're not gonna cut things in half. We're not gonna do things like that. So, we're gonna call all the people that we don't have a definitely list on it, take care of it. But that's a minor issue.
So
I
on
just want to let
this,
people
it's
know.
actually pretty important, so we need to know what people want. And so on this list, if you would be willing to help out calling folks and confirming their meal choice, that's really is
that would
important.
be, I've been spending a lot of time trying to follow up on leads and things, so I really do need the help. I think we did okay so far. I think we could do a lot better. I also want to thank Amit and Nervlu and for the last 2 weeks we've been meeting in Salinas, and actually I'm sorry I didn't put it out, but I'll have someone do an email blast. If anybody wants to join us, we'll be meeting in Salinas probably for the next 3 weeks when we get this thing done.
So Amit, do you have anything you want to add?
Yes, anything.
Well, one thing I would like to add is we're looking for cases of wine for us to consume on the night of. We have a corkage fee of $18 if the wine gets donated from the winery versus $40 a bottle if we buy it from the hotel. So that's $800 versus almost $2,400. So we have 2 cases. We're looking for 6 cases all in all. If you have any contacts with any wineries, I would love to hit you up. Young man in the corner there gave me a contact. We're following up on it. And yes, ma'am.
Chris Walton has gotten wine from Heller Winery for our last events. They've given 2 cases, so Heller Winery.
I think we actually have some from Heller, don't we, David, already? Heller and Shy?
We have some wine from Shide. We have some wine from the Han. Right now, I personally have, someone has donated 2 cases, 1 red, 1 white, and they still have another red. So technically, we have in possession 3 cases of wine.
So you need 3 more.
So
So
we're looking for.
Heller's always done 1 white and 1 red.
Okay, okay, we could follow up on that.
And you might check in with Chris Walton.
Sounds good.
Well, Mary, David, and Amit are in the Salinas Valley. I wanted to come over sometime later this week and show you some lists, sort of strategize just a little more so we can maximize our.
We still have a little time.
Absolutely.
People, so maybe after the meeting we can talk a little bit.
Sure.
I think we're actually at close to a little over 14,000. Now that doesn't count costs, but 14,000 so far because that list isn't completely updated. But ideally, we'd like to double that, right? I mean, if we could double that, that will really put us in a good position going into next year's election. So
our capacity is 185 seats. We have sold 54 committed seats so far. So if you're on the fence, on the sideline about buying tickets, let's get that number back up. We have a huge capacity. Our goal this year is between $25,000 to $28,000 in net profit to the club, to the central committee, and that's going to be great. And there is a second great event the committee is already thinking about and planning. And this is going to be a singles event. It's going to be on February 12th, which is a Saturday. Whole night of food, dancing, music, drinks, and bringing all the singles in the county together. If you would like to come help, point us in the right direction and help share your ideas and expertise, please look up David and let's make something happen.
Okay, sorry, Paul is next.
Just a couple of questions. One is, other than wine, what other kinds of things are you looking at for auction donations?
So what we're looking for is we can package night dinners, nice dinners at restaurants. If you want to hit up an elected official to have dinner at his or her home and host several people in his or her home, maybe with a theme. Of course, that's an additional donation by the elected official. Yet they often do it. Bless them for that. And if you have a local place for a staycation, like a sort of type of cabin or something like that that's nearby, because if it was somewhere far, we would need transportation with it.
right? And that's kind of hard to coordinate. We would need big ticket items. People and their company goes well, right? In their home, doing an activity with someone who is well-known and well-liked, and yeah.
And then the other question I have is, are you sending out confirmations to people who've already sent a ticket or paid for a ticket, or is there any type of?
So if they register through the Click and Pledge, they should be getting an email confirmation. I think the rest, we need to work on that process.
There is a process. There is on that grid, David has a column that says confirm with everyone, and that I believe that process is being undertaken. But it definitely is on the to-do list.
That's why I need volunteers.
Okay, anything else? Yes, Helen.
I just want to say, historically, most of these people will pay starting in October within the last 2 weeks. And I haven't paid, I'm gonna go, but I'm gonna wait until October to give you my money, I'm sorry.
That's okay. We'll work-
You know, you'll
yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
You'll get it. You're doing really, really well at this point of the game.
Good, thank you.
Uh,
Hey, this is,
Really well.
this is 2018, man. We're already in, we gotta be fired up and ready to go. This is it, so.
I've been working with, calling and working with some unions and sending, regular emails and stuff. But I'm really lacking in corporate sponsorship, so I'm going to talk about private businesses now. So if anybody knows, please see me after the meeting. Like I said, we still have about another month. And so, if you need a letter, if we have a letter, if you need somebody to call, like Karen or something, call them. Yeah, okay, so, but I'm just,
Or give them an
We
ad.
need
If
some
you know
leads.
people,
I just
they
need some
want
leads.
an ad, and you need
Yeah,
to
we need some
negotiate
leads.
that for them to buy tickets,
Right.
you are hereby deputized.
And then wherever the sign-up sheet is, let's make sure that gets to everybody and then gets back to David.
yes, don't walk on.
It's right there.
Okay.
Can I just say one more thing that might be
As long as it's a high note.
Well, I'm just saying, it sounds to me like we're gonna have a program. We want it to look beautiful, we want it in line with the flyer. Has Aaron, sorry, been
We'll talk-
notified?
We'll talk about that.
Okay. I mean, just that she needs to know with enough lead time that we're asking her to prepare it.
No, we are not.
Noted.
Okay.
Noted. Okay, then, we've already kind of talked about finance, we've talked about credentials. Issues committee, is there anything that you guys want to alert us to? I don't know. Bill?
Well, there's been a few things that have been floating back and forth. One is the supervisor, looking at
I'm just doing that program.
Okay, folks, it's really hard to hear in here, so we gotta hold down the sidebar conversation. Bill, and Bill speak a little louder.
Sure, I'll do it best I can. So it is an ongoing issue that put out just before the meeting this past month, a revised proposal. And the basic concept to me sounds pretty good. The caps.
Okay, thank you, Carl.
Can everybody hear? I don't think people back here.
No, I can't hear very well.
We'll get the dinner.
Election.
Correct.
So that would be the cap for an individual donation. I couldn't give more than $12,000. $1,200.
Now, there would be an exception granted, apparently. I read this in an article, not directly in the proposal, that under, if a self-funded candidate gave himself or herself more than $10,000, the limit to achieve it. So something closer to $5,000. To me, ideally, it's one person, one vote, $1. Just level the playing field all across. Self-funded candidates, millionaires and billionaires, that can dump a lot of money. So actually, if they do that, having a higher limit may make sense.
I think Natalie?
Oh, we had discussed endorsing the Lake County platform, and I read through it and I'm fine with it, but we haven't really met as a group to.
And then, just to share with the committee and everyone, I submitted our resolution on a woman's unambiguous right to choice to the state party. I heard back from the state party chair. He thought it was great, but that the format needs to be modified, that we're not supposed to have more than 3 whereas clauses and no more than 2 resolution or therefore clauses. So we'll be working to modify that and bring it back for a second affirmation. It's not going to change substantively, it's just going to be kind of things moved around a little bit so we can get it into that format. Because ultimately we want our District 7 and all of our state delegates to then advocate for that at the state party. All right, yes,
I
Paul.
wanted to say on the campaign finance, being somebody who has been treasurer for any number of committees and looked at a lot of different ways things are financed. Sometimes I don't agree with it, sometimes I do. I just want to tell people to be very careful. We all want campaign finance reform, but you have to really look at this in a detailed way to see how this works out. You have to look at it in real time. What does it mean for the individual candidates before you just sign on to something? So I just want you to be really careful about that and thoughtful when you really go through that process.
Okay. All right, but I don't want to delve into a whole, because we don't have even an item on the table to vote on. So yeah, I think I'm gonna close comments on that right now. It's just a report. Yeah.
As far as there was the people's platform, which was part of their county.
Yeah.
And it kind of got sidebarred a month or 2 ago, and there were questions about it. It is, I like to say, it's been endorsed by Progressive Democrats for America, Democracy for America, ESA, Revolution, Our Revolution, National Nurses United, Labor for Our Revolution.
So if you want to come with a recommendation, it'd be really great if the Issues Committee, anyone that's interested in this, you're welcome to work with the Issues Committee. Come forward with some recommendations. That'll have weight because we'll know that you guys have delved into it and you're coming to us with a recommendation on that.
Right, and I don't want to just have discussion on an issue unless you're actually proposing a recommendation for us to vote on. Okay, so I think are 2 candidates here that are interested in the Monterey County?
I just saw Kyle, however, the campaign committee could mention, yes, there's still an announcement from campaign about their event.
Okay, go ahead.
Campaign committee?
Oh, okay, it's actually in your packet, and I went ahead and printed more, so I have a green copy if you want to. So we are hosting a campaign kind of 101, you could think of it as, about running for office called Winning Ways. This is based off one that was done a couple years ago that Vince spearheaded. Alan's going to be speaking, Kayla Jones, Luis Alejo, and Neil Patel from the point of view of someone who is in office and has run for office. And then we have Valerie Guardiola and Adam Pinterest. They're going to talk about how a campaign is run, what needs to be done. This is a very introductory overview. It's not down to the nitty-gritty. But what we're kind of going to be selling is, starting in January, our intention is to have a series of 3 more intensive ones that would be limited to people who are pretty much committed to running and are Democrats. This one is open even to Republicans because, like Vince Kohler said, it's not like we're giving away any secrets. When we give away the secrets, then the door gets closed. But, who knows, maybe a Republican will show up and decide they want to become a Democrat or an independent or someone who never has even thought about what party, but they're thinking about running. So if you guys know anybody that's even contemplating running, or you have a friend who has mentioned it, then invite them to attend this, and maybe there are 141 potential seats available across the county. So that's a lot. Now, some of them are at the level where we know they're not going to show up for our event, but folks that are thinking about running for city council, school boards, water boards, all those other boards that exist out there, this is a perfect opportunity for folks to, find out about how to run a campaign and what it takes, how it tears your family apart or brings them together, that kind of thing. So please promote it. It's on Facebook. It's on our webpage. It's October 7th at the Carpenters Hall. It is unfortunately the same day as the Region 7 meeting. We had scheduled this date a long time ago before we heard that. And so ours is in the morning, it's over by noon. You should be able to get to Santa Cruz for the Region 7 if you so desire, as well as attendance. So promote.
Yes, it's yours.
Okay, we do still have a couple of committee reports, but it is 8:08, and we said we would start agenda item 6B at 8. So I'm going to go ahead with that now and review the process a little bit. So the candidates will each have 2 minutes to present their opening statements. If you have a question for the candidates, you can do so. They have a minute to respond, and then they'll have each 2 minutes to make closing comments. And then we'll have our vote. Now for this vote, because this is an endorsement vote, you actually need 60% in order to get the outright endorsement. If neither candidate gets 60%, then no one is endorsed, or someone may make a motion to double endorse. The motion to double endorse needs a 50% threshold. If that doesn't happen, then we do not take a position in this race. So, Ryan, did you have a question?
Are both candidates here?
I don't know.
Kyle Samuels, are you in the room?
He's behind you.
Linda Lyons, are you in the room? I don't know what.
Okay. Earlier question, did both candidates get enough time previously to actually do this according to the bylaws?
Well, they were first contacted 2 weeks ago and expressed that whether they were here or not, we could still take action, right? That we were going to use the Democratic Central, not the Central Labor Council's questionnaire that Glenn Schaller sent us. It's in your program, your packet, thank you. And they were both fine with that. And then Progressive Democrats took action. I don't want to speak because I'm not an officer, but they took action on it and recommended taking a position. I contacted the candidates and I have some documentation if I need to, my memory
I saw the
refresh.
email chain.
Well, actually, I have voicemail messages. I like talking to people, right, having conversation.
Paper trails are beautiful, though.
So, but I also say voicemail messages. So it's kind of nice to hear someone's words in their own voice too, to have a lot of clarification.
And did they get more than 5 days each?
And Mr. Samuel said he could come any day, anytime we want. They both were aware tonight was a possibility. I contacted Ms. Lyons and she said tonight was fine, but could we make it after her previous engagement? She had something till 7 o'clock in North County, so I suggested how much time do you need? She said 20 minutes, and I said would 8 o'clock be fine? She said more than enough, and she confirmed with me in conversation 3 times. This afternoon, someone else sent an email, not Ms. Lyons, saying that she could, I don't know what the wording was, I don't have permission to share that, but that she didn't understand or that it was a problem for her to come.
Yeah.
I still haven't heard from her.
Adam brought up the point, though, that in the bylaws, you're supposed to give them at least 5 days advance notice so they can actually come in and do this. Otherwise, if you have candidates and you're telling one of them that they have, 2 weeks or so to get in here, and the last one doesn't know or even have a chance to confirm.
That's not true, though. They both, the email chain went to both of them weeks ago, copied to both of them, and then the conversations have been taking place since then. So, and they agreed to come.
Karen,
Elena?
and also I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that they asked us for the
Yes.
option to be
Yes.
endorsed. So the time frame is such that if we waited, if we gave them 5 days, which I believe they've had, then we wouldn't have a chance, we would have had to have a separate meeting. And so this made the most sense for us to incorporate it into our regularly scheduled meeting. And so I don't think the 5 days is all that important since they want us to possibly endorse one.
To be honest, because there was only one election, we weren't even planning to get it involved. We were contacted by them not that long ago, just before the e-board meeting on Wednesday. And so the e-board did decide we would go ahead with an expedited process and we would give both of them a chance to speak. Normally we don't do that. Normally can't because there's so many candidates, but we did decide to go ahead and give each of them a chance to speak.
And it was suggested, it was placed at a time and on a date suggested by a candidate who I guess now can't make it. I don't know, because she hasn't communicated with me. I've been calling, we've been emailing. Someone else, a third party that I didn't know had anything to do with her campaign, sent an email this afternoon saying, I don't want to say what he said, but indicating that it might be a problem for her to be here tonight.
I mean, if we normally don't endorse these people and it's not such an issue or such a pressing matter, why don't we just postpone it until both of the candidates can be there?
So postponing it, basically, it would make it impossible, because our next meeting is until the end of October. By that point, our endorsement is meaningless. So the only way we could do it would be to have a special election, and basically a special meeting. If it is the will of this body to defer this tonight and to have a special meeting, somebody could make that motion. Yeah, Paul?
Is one an incumbent or a question?
One is an incumbent.
Is that Ms. Lyons?
I believe so.
Okay.
Okay,
No,
so,
I have another possible
Yeah.
suggestion. Since both of them aren't here, we could
One
choose.
is.
I know, I said both of them are not here. Two of them are not here, correct? One person is here. We could opt, because normally we don't allow the candidates to speak, to just rely on the paper and vote without either candidate making a statement, if that's the concern. But it does sound to me like she was given, the same amount of notice about when we could
Correct.
meet to do this. I mean, that's just a thought.
And she agreed to it.
And she agreed to it.
Yeah.
She suggested this time. I even said, we have enough in paper. We can do this with neither candidate there. And I said, we are not going to design this deliberately so one candidate can or cannot be there. We want to design it so both can be there. What is good for you? Mr. Samuel said, any day, any time, I'm there. And Ms. Lyons' schedule is different. She's the incumbent. And so she had this appointment and suggested this time, and I still have not heard from her, and she has my phone number, and I just checked email a moment ago, that she can't make it.
okay, so what would we like to do? David and then Holly.
Since Mr. Samuels is here, I thought maybe, can we not answer questions, just make a statement,
Yeah.
just make a statement and.
Looking at the paperwork, we have one thing here with no name on it, and assuming that's from the incumbent. Is this all she turned in?
That is correct.
That's all she turned in, because I
Well-
noticed that Kyle filled out all of the endorsement paperwork.
Yes, and the other item is quite detailed. It's the Monterey Bay Central Labor Council's questionnaire, and it's both of them on that one. And we can thank Glenn Schaller for that. Both candidates agreed that they were fine with us having that. Initially, we were just going to use that. And then through conversation, there were a couple of other questions, I think 4 other questions. And it was agreed that those would be returned by 5 o'clock.
Okay, so the first question is there a will to defer this and have a special meeting? It would have to be probably next week. Okay, I don't see that. So, yes.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we proceed as we had planned, hearing from the candidate that's present, responding to questions, and just following.
All right, so there's a motion that we go ahead and follow our planned order. Alicia seconded. Yes, discussion.
Can I make an amendment that with that motion, that we just, just keep the process going, that we
Just go ahead.
Samuelson as the endorsement.
I can follow that.
Samuelson as the endorsement.
He wants to go directly to endorsing.
You want to go directly to the endorsement?
Right.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm not, I think I'd like to vote on the motion. Since we are not doing things the way we typically do, it's an expedited process. As the chair, I would appreciate confirmation that we are doing this in a way that the body feels comfortable. So there is a motion that we go ahead as planned, and it's been seconded. Any other discussion on that? All right, all in favor, I guess raise your cards. All right. It looks to me like it's more anybody opposed. All right, so we have a consensus to go ahead with the process as planned. Thank you. So, Kyle, if you would, yes.
I just want to ask a quick question. Did I understand you correctly, Karen, when you said Judy received some communication now that says she will not be here?
A third party who said he was working for her said that she could not come. I don't, because it wasn't directly from her, he said some things that he said were quoting her, but I don't know who
So
this
she isn't gonna be here. is the
Well,
bottom line,
that's
as far
what
as we
somebody
know.
said, but I don't know who this guy is.
Okay, I'm sorry, we're gonna go ahead now. We've already taken a vote on the process, so we're moving forward. Kyle, if you would like to speak for 2 minutes, you have the floor. And welcome.
Thank you. I was asked to run for this election by the Monterey County Federation of Teachers. I'm also endorsed by CSEA for probably similar reasons. And of course, the Monterey Bay Central Labor. So I'm a labor candidate. Fought for labor all my life. I was teaching. I was full-time, working for the union all the time, doing budget analysis, mainly budget analysis, to find out how the district was doing at the time. Help save the district money and also maintain financial stability. Needed work. I think one of the biggest problems in Monterey County right now is lack of transparency. Nobody's listening to the teachers, nobody's talking to the teachers, no one's talking to the CSEA. And I not only believe that that's important, I've lived my whole life trying to get board members to talk and to respond to union concerns. In case you guys don't know, you can read my literature, I was a union president for 4 years. I was treasurer for, I think, 8 years. I was a building rep in between that time. Took a lot of my time, took a lot of effort, and I'm retired, I was ready to enjoy retirement, and the teachers came to me and said, please help, we need help. And I told them what my qualifications are, what I was capable of doing, and they obviously agreed. And I'm here to help out the teachers. Democrats are in favor of labor. I think they really need this help. It's a very important thing. I've lived through superintendents who work specifically to divide districts, and I've seen that.
Okay, thank you. So, are there any questions? Ahmed?
What are your views on women's right to choose?
Well, an absolute right. I don't think it should be deferred. I would add that I worked on healthcare issues a lot. I was actually on the healthcare trust board, and I think we need to make sure that there's health insurance there for everybody.
David and then Natalie.
What are your views on charter?
I'm sorry, David and then Natalie.
And then Dominic. What are the top 2 issues you've identified for the board?
Well, the main thing is transparency and openness for the teachers. And the second is someone who can actually read a budget.
Okay, Natalie?
What are your views on charter schools?
I'm totally against them. Why am I against them? Because it leads to unequal access.
Question, not statement, right?
Yeah.
Last week when your home union voted on your endorsement, what was the yeas, nays, and abstentions of the union that you were present at?
I didn't ask for my local endorsement. I mean, you're talking about my former local.
SVFT, yes.
I didn't go to them. I didn't request an endorsement from them. It's not their area. It's in Monterey County. But they endorsed me, I don't know. I'll put it this way, the night of the Monterey Central Labor Council, the president of the union was there. I saw him, and I got a unanimous endorsement. That's all I know.
Yeah, James.
What are your views on teaching actual science in class on things like evolution and climate change?
Evolution, I mean, it's a science. Evolution isn't fake science. Climate isn't fake science. I mean, although that's not the area of the school board, if it ever came before me that whether or not there should be climate change taught in schools, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, Yvonne.
Are you, will you be involved in what is happening to kids who are put in these special ed programs? And they used to be for the really bright kids, now they're for what people see as the dumber kids. And there's nobody looking into how the students are being treated, and as they graduate from high school, they're not really graduated, they still have to take other classes.
So special, your view on special needs?
Well, there's lots of special needs issues.
No, this is special.
I understand. So SPED students are supposed to be 2 standard deviations from between their learning and their tested IQ. That was the original definition of SPED, which means their performance is 2 standard deviations below their capabilities. They're supposed to teach that. Fact is I was put in a SPED class in 7th grade, and it helped me. And I was there to learn and improve. SPED issue is pretty important to me right now, given that my son has become bipolar schizoaffective. And that's my own personal axe to grind if I do get on the Board of Education, is to make sure that special needs people, that we elevate those issues. Because I think there's a lot of kids with emotional illness, which I can't say throughout my whole teaching career I understood until I faced it. And it's a very important issue to me, personally.
Okay, I see 2 more hands, and then I think I'm going to call it at that point so we can kind of move on. So Doug and Elena.
What's your opinion about cops being on campus, resource cops?
Oh, resource police officers on campus. They're supposed to be there to take care. They're supposed to be basically parole officers for kids who are having problems and that have just come out of juvenile hall. And they're supposed to meet and act as parole officers with them, but they end up doing other things on campus. And I can't say they haven't been somewhat of a help at Salinas High School. Gang activity and various fighting went down quite a bit when I was there. I'd have to think about that. I mean, honestly, I'd have to think about that. But in general, I'm somewhat wary of constant surveillance of students in general, and drug dogs coming into campus and stuff.
Lana, last question.
Well, related to that, I don't know if this is always the case, but if apparently at MPUSD that those resource officers are paid for by the district. So one question, part 1 would be, would that be a priority for you to use district money to pay for those? The second is, you mentioned teachers, but having being a retired educator just for a couple months. What are your priorities for teachers? Especially as it relates to salary, and then what are your priorities for students? Because they really are our purpose as educators.
Right. When I was union president, one of my things I was very interested in is something called continuous improvement. And teachers get time for collaboration, they get supported in their collaboration. They create assessment tests collectively. They give those assessment tests, they evaluate the students, and they see the degree to which they can improve their teaching. And I have to admit, it helped me a lot. Just to constantly be there and know what the other teachers are doing, not feeling like I was just left out in the wind, to hang, basically.
Okay. So if you have any closing comments?
I'm really here for the teachers. And they absolutely need this. I don't know how much you guys know what's going on, but if you listen to any of the teachers in North Monterey County here, this is not about me. This is about the teachers. And the union needs some backing at this point. And we need to win this election. And if we don't win this election, there's going to be heck to pay for the teachers. And you guys have to decide whether you're going to stand with the teachers or not. They need the help. I would rather do other things. Honestly, they need the help, and I'm willing to stand up and take the heat for them. Thank you.
Thank you.
There is room for discussion on this endorsement.
Where's Karen?
Yes, so what I was going to do is I was going to thank Kyle and suggest if he would like to hang around since he's come so far, I'd be happy to give you a call when we've made a decision, if you'd like to know that, and you can choose whether you come back here or not. Yes? Or do you need to leave? You need to leave this room, but you need to leave that
I was told I was supposed to leave after the meeting.
Right, so you can go back.
Okay.
If you want, we will contact you and let you know what happens. And if you're around, you're welcome to come back, one way or the other.
Okay. So, yes, we'll have some discussion, but I don't want it to go on too far. Yes.
Having been on the board of trustees, I recognize it's very important to have teachers there because the teacher can communicate part of the institution that board normally doesn't get to it from. That is, I don't want to take a lot of time, but I'm just saying, he's got back for it.
Okay. Dominic?
About a minute, yeah?
Go ahead.
Simply put, I was a student. Tyler was too. Man didn't. Now some people are saying I have an axe to grind. I Googled tweets. The same things I said in '96, people were tweeting in 2013, 2015. I brought them. There's some good ones too, don't get me wrong, I brought those too. If people want to see them. It's 2-1 against. Things we were saying was he didn't teach. Now that union question I asked, it was simply put because his home union, of which he was a member, another ex-president brought the issue up. Union wanted to endorse. The vote was 9-1 in his favor, however, 11 people abstained. This is his home union. Our endorsement represents who we are. What we say we represent must be exemplified in the candidates we endorse. This man is not going to bring honor to our party. He is not going to lead a consensus building team on this board.
That's been. All right, anybody else? Natalie?
I have experience with the superintendent of North Monterey County, and I'm not going to slander anybody, but I'm going to say that the teachers truly do need help, and you know, I mean, both of them are going to say they care for kids, but in this case, dealing with that superintendent, that's all I'm going to say. The teachers really, really do need help, and I'm quite sure that they asked him to run in order to have more power on the board. They're one of the lowest paid. They're treated horribly. I mean, basically they're NPC. Superintendent.
Anyone else?
So I don't have a copy of the of that handy. If someone who has the Democrats questionnaire, I'm interested in hearing the answer, who has endorsed this person. Carl, can you read who has endorsed this person? It's going to be on the first page.
Personal endorsement?
Can you read it?
Yeah.
Okay, so it says list of 5 each organizational or personal endorsements of your candidacy that you consider to be the most important or most representative of your campaign. 1, Monterey-based Central Labor Council. 2, North Monterey County Federation of Teachers. 3, California School Employees Association, Chapter 6. 4, Liz Samuels, trustee of North Monterey County.
Okay, and that was for Kyle or?
That's for
And we didn't receive this from Linda?
But there is a list on the Central Labor Council.
Holly and then Bill.
So are there other people running besides the school, or are there Republicans? You have no information? No. So it's just the two of us. So if we
There's some food in
do
the back if you're
a no
still.
endorsement,
I'm starving.
we don't run the risk of having a Republican put in that position. Okay.
Bill?
Just about to.
So I'd say
I was
school
looking
board
more
was probably a little more interesting political experiences. first elected experience. And I became a school board member out of concern for our seniors.
Bill, can you speak up a little bit, please?
I became a school board member to look out for the interests of the students. And everything I learned to do on the school board was to evaluate based on student learning. Is it going to be good for their student learning? That's the most important. But at the same time, I recognize that the teachers in our district were not well represented in that decision-making process. We involved them as much as possible, but there was a lot of pushback from the administration and some of the other.
So Bill, we're at a minute. Can you get your point?
I'm willing to accept the endorsements. I think those are important endorsements.
Thank you. I think it's Levon and then.
Does anybody mind if I close the door first? It's getting hard to hear back here.
Go ahead, Levon.
Okay, I've gone to lots of school board meetings, and I'm for the teachers, but we have to make sure we have teachers that know how to teach all of the students and have their purpose in mind, because there is a lot of problems with some of the schools, especially the inner city schools, where they do not have the programs that they need to have for the students, even the high school students. And so if the teachers, we're supporting the teachers, but we need to support the teachers as they can teach and look at how they're really evaluating the students and bringing the programs in that's necessary for our students to learn and to really be educated. And I just had a program August 26th where I went into some of the
Levon,
classrooms.
you're out of minutes, so you gotta make your
I'm
point.
out of a minute. Okay, well, I see that there is a problem with the way the students are being taught and educated.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to speak to the merits of this endorsement? Yeah.
In letter, in an agenda item packet that was sent out earlier, number 10 and 9, I see a list of a bunch of things that he wants to do, but I don't really see anything that he has done. And so when I look at the other woman on number 9, she increased graduation rates. Yeah, she had a chance to do something, but he's been there for 30 years. It seems like he's struggling to find a lot of things he wants to do and ideas to think about. And the woman's discredited. I mean, she's not here, so she can't really like screw herself into the situation or pull herself back out. So it's kind of a difficult thing to gauge both of them against each other. So, you know, I look at people with their track record and what they've actually done. They've been there for 30 years, and it's a bunch of stuff I want to do, but nothing's ever really been done. And I understand she is an incumbent. It's just not the strongest resume I've ever seen for one of these people. And by the way, my mother is a special ed teacher in Cupertino. My father is a professor of science out in Lawrence Tech in Michigan. So I grew up in an academic environment, and I mean, certainly Dominic gave an impassioned speech against this gentleman from his own experiences, and I've honestly had teachers like that, and I can't stand them.
But he won't be teaching.
Yeah, it's a different.
But if he's not going to be teaching,
You're out of minute.
I have a question behind you.
I'm sorry, only members of the committee I'm going to allow them to speak. Yes.
Well, Kyle Samuels, I'm in a different district, so I think he explained what his best suit was. And it's really important. I was on a school board for 13 years. It took me a whole year to figure out what the hell was going on. Really, I'm not kidding you. And people quit the school board because they couldn't figure it out, or they stayed longer than they should have. And they were pushed around by the superintendent because they never figured out the material. I mean, I assume Linda Lyons knows the material. I do like facts and numbers and statistics. Those are impressive, but it sounds like relationships are dysfunctional. So I want to try to do that.
Okay. Yes, Karen?
So People that know me know I am not always in agreement with my employer. I'm part-time employed at the Monterey-based Central Labor Council, yet I do respect their political process and their great ability to bring people together where it counts and put aside any differences and say, this is what's good for working people. It means a lot to me that AFT 4008 has endorsed Kyle Samuels. The Monterey-based Central Labor Council and the president of Kyle's former union was in the room. And still, you heard what the numbers were. I also want to mention that AFT Local 408 was run for many years by another Lines, may he rest in peace. And Linda was a contact for the union and did interact. I interacted with her. So she was active in her union. And that union has not endorsed her. That has weight with me. And I love his budget, that he can read multi-million-dollar budgets, so they can't put anything over on him.
Okay, does anyone have any new information that they need to share that will help us make our vote? Otherwise, it is 8:39. So any new information to share? If not, I'm gonna say I'm open for recommendations. You could make a motion.
I move that we endorse Kyle.
All right. Second by Luis. All right, so at this time, you're going to raise your card if you want to vote for Kyle. If you don't want to vote for him, keep your card down. All right. All those in favor of endorsing Kyle, raise your hand. And can we get a count?
I have 17.
Yeah, with that leather strip.
All right, any no's? Raise your card.
How many no's?
6. Any abstentions? So what was that?
So 17 yes, 6 no, 5 abstentions.
Okay, is there a second motion?
So we got 60%.
It's 60%.
So we do have 60%. Well, okay, so we do have endorsement vote at more than 60%.
18 votes, I'm sorry, 60%, it's 17.4 votes, so it has to go up to 18.
And
what was the abstentions?
20%
of
30 is 18.
We only had 28 voters.
Laura said 28
votes, so 17 is good.
All right, so can somebody, Bob?
You've already said that abstentions aren't counted. It's the yeses versus the noes.
Yep.
And so 17 is well over 60% of 23.
Said a teacher. It is.
Okay, so are we clear? Think about it. All right, then we do endorse Kyle. All right, I know it's getting late, so we had some folks who went to the e-board meeting for the California Democratic Party, and I want to give them a chance to speak, but I don't want this meeting to go on much longer. So if you could share your thoughts in a minute or two.
Go on, Patsy, where are we?
Yeah.
Jan's gonna go first.
I'm not gonna be shocked.
Okay, but you have something to hand out.
Yeah, I just want to apologize. I tried very hard to get my report, actually my observations, to prepare to get out to you all, and also to Aaron to get on the website, and it seems that my computer was taken over, just at the wrong time by the Trump Republicans. And there wasn't any way to get it out. So I just made copies and I'll pass them around, just in case you're interested.
Thank you.
Yes, yes.
And if I also have a packet of the more detailed information about all the many resolutions and committee rulings and other things like that. So if anybody really wants to see some of the details, I'll be glad to show you.
Okay, Dominic?
It was a great e-board meeting. A lot of people actually were coming together to work after the convention. A resolution that I believe we sponsored as well as UD7 of Vancouver Pier Boss. That was passed that I co-authored with Lucia Calderon from Safe Exit School. We had an idea that was made the finals for Planned Parenthood to use in congressional red districts to gain support for Planned Parenthood. And because of my work with voter registration, trying to increase it in Salinas, Carlos Alcala, the chair of the Chicano Latino Caucus, appointed me to the vacancy of the Chicano Latino Caucus as one of the regional vice chairs for our area. So I'll be working on voter red as part of their caucus. As Alan mentioned, the deadline for resolutions is coming up in mid-October. So if people have suggestions, by all means, let me know so that we can get it written up and passed around for sponsorship and endorsements. Thanks.
Tyler, do you have anything you want to add? Yeah, I don't have anything specifically for the 20th Assembly District, but I did want to actually share some events that are coming up. So just two things. Salinas Valley Pride is on October 7th. It's at the Epicenter. It's October 7th from 1 to 5. So just encourage folks to go out and participate in that. And then also, Monterey Peninsula Pride is hosting a Halloween party. Which is really cool, but there's gonna be like costume contest. It's gonna be really good.
When is it?
It's on Friday, October 27th.
Oh,
so it's
good.
the day before.
Go to both.
The day before ours. So and it's gonna be at Bull and Bear Whiskey Bar, Tap House on Alvarado, from 8 to 12. So encourage everybody to come to that.
And then also, those of you who are delegates to the state party should be aware that Omar Torres is having a District 7 meeting in Santa Cruz. That's October 7th after, I think at 12:30. So if you're going to the campaign event, campaign training, you could then go to the District 7 event afterwards. All right, folks, thank you very much. Appreciate your patience. Appreciate everyone working together. And yeah, do return your cards.
The campaign committee, we're meeting after this meeting for like 5 minutes just to catch up. So don't leave if you're on the campaign committee. Good meeting.
See the Dolores Huerta film in Salinas? It only plays till Thursday, so catch it at the Maya. It's only there till Thursday.
Good discussion, good civic.